It's wonderful to have just finished the 18th NCAER conference, and it is quite amazing that over these 18 years this conference has become such an institution in its own right. And it's always been held at this wonderful location at the NCAER Fort Palace, and it's been a marvelous collaboration between NCAER and the National Bureau of Economic Research in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the US.
This meeting is the premier gathering of policy-oriented applied economists from our two nations. This year we have tackled a set of questions that are on the front burner, both in Delhi and in Washington, and that the two research communities are very interested in. NCAER has always had a wonderful combination of timely focus on the latest issues that are important to the research and policy communities, but also an informal sense of interaction between the researchers and the policymakers.
I've been coming to NCAER for I think 4 years now, and the experience has been terrific. I mean, it's a great place to exchange ideas both about the Indian economy, about the global markets, what's happening in the US and other parts of the world. We have very cutting-edge researchers who provide very interesting insights about their research that have value for policymaking. So what's great about presenting at a NCAER is that you have policymakers in the audience. You have researchers, for instance, at the NCAER who've looked also closely at the data that I've looked at, and they have the unique insights that they bring to the discussion, and that's very valuable for my research.
I've been a veteran of the NCAER conference for quite some time. I've been coming for almost 15 years, starting in about 2001. When I was a PhD student at Harvard, and Marty Feldstein, who was one of my advisors, said that this is the premium place for academic and policy research discussion on topics that matter for the Indian economy. So the first year when I came here in 2001 as a PhD student, there were 2 sessions on education that had then the leading lights of the world in education research, Abhijit Banerjee, Aristotle Flo, Michael Kramer, and Caroline Hawksby. And sitting there as a first-year PhD student hearing all of these topics, I was like, this is what I'm going to work on. And over the next 15 years, my research has, in fact, really built up on those early moments of being inspired in NCAER about seeing what the big questions are, what the research gaps are, and kind of continuously having interaction with both researchers and policymakers in terms of building my own research agenda.
Yeah, I think the long association with NCAER and in particular with this conference has been really formative in my research, for my research agenda, because it's really the one conference you go to where you hear about all facets of what affect Indian economic life. The presence of so many Indian participants and high-level policymakers also ensures that it keeps grounding into the Indian reality.
The conference itself started off with quite a big event, and all of the NBR associates who were in town and several of us from NCAER spent almost 75 minutes with the Prime Minister talking about some of the priorities that people thought were important to place on the table.
I was very much involved in the discussions that led up to the creation of the NCAER conference, which has now been going on for something like 20 years, and I've attended most of those conferences. I can't think of the Indian economic environment without NCAER. It is such an integral part of the Indian academic scene, as well as a very important part for NCAER. So if you ask me which was the one conference that we have to make an attempt to continue, it is NCAER.